Previously on Evolution on the Mic.
And we are back, season 4, The Power of Positive Thinking, episode 4, How to Achieve Goals with Positive Thinking.
Goals are being put in place because we have something that we want to achieve. And when you think about achieving, there's a certain mindset that comes with achieving.
You know, I had a goal, but God had another idea for me.
Setting a goal and then either not achieving it or somewhat achieving it, not setting these certain expectations, not achieving those expectations, and then it kind of sending us on this little spiral, or as we said last time, this merry-go-round, this negative loop, start to take me on this negative loop. And then that negative loop, if I don't stop it, could then lead to other things, could lead to me, starting to doubt myself in other areas, or start to lead to me no longer taking action. I started to realize, wow, like this is a constant battle that we go through. I know for me in my own personal journey, there was a time, and I had talked about this early on in the show, like many episodes ago, where I wanted to become a doctor. That was when I was a child. That was a big dream of mine, was to become a doctor. And one of the things that threw me off track from becoming a doctor was I had a family friend that I respected who had told me that at that time I was, overweight and as a young kid. And they said to me that a fat doctor would never be respected, is essentially what they said. Like, how can you be a doctor and tell people that they need to be healthy when you're not living healthy yourself? Now, as truthful as some might say, like, well, that is true. Like, you need to walk what you preach, right? In the same sense, for me at such an early age, that person that I had respected had an impressionable part of my life. And so they were an external motivator, but they became a demotivator when they said that to me. And that became so strong that it blew out the fire I had within inside of me as an internal motivator to become a doctor. Because one of my biggest challenges I saw in my life was my weight. And I had a belief system that I could never lose weight. So I'm saying that because some of these internal motivators and external motivators, it's like a web. They're all connected. So you may have one belief system internally that's connected to another belief system that you've had. And those two together, they can cancel each other out. They may even decide to take you down a different path that you weren't even destined to do in the first place. So I challenge you all, if you haven't already, get you a journal and spend that time, whether it's in the morning, whether it's in the evening, find you some time to write down your thoughts from the day. And this is just your time to clear your head, get everything out that you're feeling, any type of emotions that you're feeling, get them out, allow yourself to feel those and allow those to come to the forefront. Ariana, are you doing any journaling now? Is that coming up for you?
Actually, like when we started the A&E, I know he had us do like a couple pages a day of 3 different affirmations. So for me, my journaling is more about affirmations. They're always about what I want to achieve, what I want to accomplish, the things that I want to see in my life. And till this day, I still journal every morning. And I can honestly say that a big part of where I'm at now is because of those affirmations. They just keep me like, yep, that's that. Yep, I'm going to have that. And it's, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like it's kind of magical when you're doing these affirmations. So like for me, I don't focus so much on my negative thoughts when I'm writing anything out. That's my approach to it is more, what is it that I want? What is it that I need? And writing down the affirmations that I want to see happen, the ones that I want to believe are true for me, because sometimes the negative thoughts creep in. So I kind of reverse engineer that. So before the negative thoughts start creeping in of what I'm not, I say what I am. I say what's coming to me. I say what I have. And even though I don't have them now, I have them. And I write those down every day. And I try not to skip a day because I feel so much confident in what I'm saying. I'm feeling my subconscious, right? It's like the Chinese bamboo tree. Like I'm planting these seeds. And yes, I might not see the fruits of my labor today, but before I know it, right, I don't care how how long it takes. Before I know it, that tree is going to sprout so high and big in a short matter of time once it breaks ground. And I feel like, you know, once I break ground and once things are happening for me, I'm going to look back at all those books of journals that I have and show everybody, like, I have been planting seeds every day in my mind for this to happen, for this to be. And I always knew that it would. So I do that for myself to keep the negative thoughts away. Right. That's my reasoning. Like, this is what's happening. This was going to happen. And I feel a conviction every morning, and I go about my day and I feel like things just happen for me so beautifully, so in alignment, so much like it feels like magic, and all the abundance that I have, because, you know, that's part of my affirmation. You know what I mean? Abundance, wealth, health. So it helps definitely have those things happen in my reality. So I definitely am grateful for the A&E, because it did help me with starting that habit, and I've kept it since, and it's been over a year now, and I'm very grateful for it, you know?
Yeah, and I like the way you reframe that, because I don't think there's one way to
Yeah, at
journal.
all. Yeah, not at all.
And I think the way you just described that, that resonates with me more, because I think naturally we are going to be in this kind of, or we have the tendencies for negative thinking to creep in, because again, it doesn't go away. Negative thinking is always there.
Yeah.
Either you're just going to silence it, but it's always going to be there. It just comes up. It's just the world we live in, right? But I love the idea that if you're telling yourself every day, I am this, I am this,
I have that. Yeah.
I have that. Like, no matter what type of negative thinking comes your way, it can't throw you off your track, because you've already firmly cemented inside yourself who you are. You don't have to second guess it. You don't have to question it. You just know it's there. And I freaking love that. And I was thinking about this when it comes to failure, because I think that's another thing that tends to come up, is when we were talking earlier about our experiences with, you know, feeling like, okay, well, we didn't achieve our goal, but we didn't necessarily see that as failure because there was a lot of things that came from it. If, to me, failure is not reaffirming your negative thoughts, because sometimes you could think that, right? If someone, even if it's an external person who comes into your life and they're like, you will never be this, and you attempt to achieve whatever that goal is and you fail, the natural tendency is to then say, that person was right. I knew, like, they were right. They were right. They told me I would never do this. I would challenge you to not see failure as you reaffirming your negative thoughts. What failure is it's strengthening your positive thoughts. And let me break that down, what I mean by that. You're strengthening your positive thoughts because you have now proven to yourself that you can move forward. One of the big things we talked about in one of our previous episodes was taking action. And one of the things that stops us from taking action is our mindset, the thoughts we have. And so prior to you actually even taking the chance to do something, you had a thought, an idea of what you wanted to achieve. And some of your external factors were saying, you will never achieve that. But you took action anyway, and you proved to yourself that you can at least take the action. And you learn something from that experience that you now will apply to the next time you take action, the next time you take action. And at some point, you will achieve the goal that you want if, again, you're being consistent, you're being diligent, and you're continuing to learn from each of those experiences that you're going through and tweaking the process. And there's ways to do it faster, like getting mentors and things. But I want to just call that out. And I know, like, you know, whenever I think about my life, and maybe you've experienced this too, Ariana, like, the path to your deepest desires, what you want in your heart, is not an easy path. At least that's been for me. Like, the concepts, the ways of doing things might be easy. Like, if you're someone, you're like, I've always wanted to be a mathematician, and because numbers just come to you easy, that may come to you easy. But the way in which you want to be a mathematician might be a little bit difficult, because it's going to push you outside your comfort zone. To achieve the level that you want to achieve that extra 10% when you're only doing 90, takes a little bit of extra effort that you need to put in to get there. And so with that, to me, I feel comes failure. Like, failure in some ways is inevitable, because you're trying new things, you're pushing the envelope, you're doing something a little bit different. You're not wanting to just live a normal, average type of life. You see something more for yourself. And so I'm wondering, like, Ariana, has that shown up for you at any parts in your life? I mean, you've seen so much, and I know you shared your experience on this show with us of where you've come from, but even like on the funding side, like, do you even, is there times where it's like, you're just like, man, what am I doing? Like, like where you second guess some of
Yeah,
what you're,
no, absolutely. I mean, I had it with, my car removal business, things change every day with the bureaus and it's a hit or miss. Sometimes inquiries might fall. Lately, Equifax hasn't been, it's like a hit or miss. And yeah, sometimes I'm like, I just want to not do this anymore. Like I'm done. This is way too much that things that might happen. And then, like again, I like to always do what I say I'm going to do. So it's tough for me when things don't go my way. It's tough for me when there's that failure where some inquiries don't drop in certain bureaus because, internally those bureaus are having some glitches. But my clients don't care about that. They're like, well, you told me, and that didn't happen. And yes, that has been where the failure kicks in and it hits me like, well, I just don't want to be doing this no more. Like I'm just going to stick to funding, but I got to think about that. I have a team behind my inquiry removal business. It's not just me, right? There's people that, not that I'm responsible for, but that I want to make better. So I have to make sure that all my businesses flourish because this is not just about me. It's not just about my pocket. It's not just about my wealth, just me being good. It's about the people that I want to have under me that I want to make better, that I want to provide for, that I want to help them grow and have everything that they can want and need. So then I start telling myself those positive things on you doing this and you continuing to do this despite certain things sometimes not working, despite sometimes the headaches that comes back when I have to deal with a irate client, right? Which rarely happens, but it still happens and it's annoying, So I have to just shift it to the positive. How is this going to be able to grow in the future for more people that I can have under my team, right? And and then filtering that into my funding company when things don't go right, when my clients get a denial and they don't get the approval amount that they thought they would when things happen. It's like, oh my God, this is a lot, but everything is a lot. Like anything that you're going to try to do in your personal life, in your business life, in relational, anything in partnerships, you are going to have days where things are not going your way. And what you're going to do, quit each time, then you're going to just quit everything and not do nothing in your life. Sometimes we just got to stay the course long enough to see the fruits of the labor later on. They're not just going to happen right away, but things are going to happen around that journey that feel like failure, that are failure, but there's lessons in those things that we just have to learn, modify, shift the perspective and keep going. And I'm a big believer that no matter what, I'm going to keep going. No matter what, I'm going to figure it out. No matter what, I'm going to be resourceful. Like no matter what, if there's a will, there's a way. That's just always been my mindset. So when the failure kicks in and when things are not going my way, I just quickly shift. Girl, this is not about you. This is about other people that are around you that need you. This is about your future. This is about mentors way. If you give up now, what kind of inspiring person are you being? What kind of motivational person are you being? How can people relate to you if you're just taking the easy route? So for me, it's like there's no other way but just up. There's no other way but through. And I choose to see failure as what's the lesson and how can I turn that failure into a win? But it's hard sometimes. Because it becomes sometimes a bit much. And we have days, we have moments where it's just like, oh, I just want to, throw in the towel, this is too much. But I try not to sit there too long in that. I know that they happen. I'll call my friend, I'll call somebody to get me out of it and not stay there. Again, resourcefulness is big in my life. I try not to stay in one thing long enough. Like I'm going to get a therapist. I'm going to get somebody to help me get out of my own way. Because I don't want to get in my way. I know that everything that I want to achieve is possible. Everything that anybody wants to achieve is possible. We're going to get in our minds sometimes that might want to keep us stuck. It happens. But what are we going to do next? We recognize we're in a funk and then what? I'm going to reach out to somebody. I'm going to get help. I am not going to stay there. And that's just what always helps me keep climbing a ladder. Why every year I have goals and I want to get better every year. Like one of the worst things that can happen to me is if a year passes and I'm not 1% better, like I'm not, like something didn't shift, like something didn't get better. Like that is my biggest depression in life. Like a year passed and something didn't turn up a notch. I can't. Every year I want to be getting better. I want things to be shifting in the positive direction. I want to be closer to my goals. And like that's what keeps me thriving. And I wouldn't get there or have that if I allow failure to just be a failure and me stay stuck in that. I have to be reaffirming. I have to turn those negative thoughts into something positive so that I can take more action into the things that I want to achieve.
Man, mic drop on that one. Like that. Because I think you just laid out so much about just the journey of achieving goals, being in a positive mindset, and the work that goes with it. And to
Yeah.
me, that's so important because there can be this misconception that if I just think positive, that things are going to change. And faith without works is dead. Like you need to take
Mm-mm.
action. You have to do something. And so thinking
Yep.
positive is just the start. Like that's just the strike of the match that gets the fire burning. But if you really want to create a massive burn, like a huge bonfire, you've got to add some wood to it. You got to go chop down some trees and throw those trees onto the fire and let that thing burn. That's the only way you're going to get that fire that you want. And I loved how you just show how with each step there's a little bit more that you have to do. And it's
Yeah.
about journaling. It's about if you're gonna hit a roadblock, you're gonna have failure. Okay, that's not the end. It's time to shift. It's time to move. It's time to shift. I need this. Oh, if I need to talk to someone, it's like using all of these resources. And that's what I think this whole season has really been about. When we started the whole concept around, let's talk about positive thinking, and Ariana had the discussion around this, like all of the time when we're thinking about these shows, we're asking God to lead us in the direction that
Yeah.
He wants us to go for these. And when it comes to positive thinking, the one thing that I've taken away from this season is just the importance of being resourceful. Like you will have your positive thoughts and you will have negative thoughts, but you need to know that when you start to have these negative thoughts, where are you going to pull your positivity from? That can be internally, that can be externally, that and externally also means your relationship with God and spirituality. Like all of those are at your resource, are at your fingertips. But how often are you using those things to achieve what you need to achieve? Whether that be a goal, whether that be a better relationship, whether that be mental sanity, mental health. Like you're in a place where you feel like you're thriving and not that you're stressed and burnt out all the time. All of that takes action. It takes you taking action, utilizing those resources, and doing the things you need to achieve the goals that you want, visualizing those goals, seeing them in front of you, writing them down, visualizing who you are and writing it down, claiming it. I am a fantastic writer. I am an outstanding musician. I am the next real estate mogul. I am the next business funding, CEO. Like whatever that is, like you are claiming that today. And a big part of it is claiming it, but the next big part is taking action. And I can't express enough about how important that action step is, whether that be removing people from your life that are negative. We talked a lot today about external motivators. Some of those external motivators are positive and some of them are negative. And I would challenge you, are you holding on to a negative external motivator right now because it makes you feel comfortable? Comfortability is the one thing that will destroy everything. You can't be comfortable. You have to always, that doesn't mean that you always have to be on edge, but don't get so comfortable that you allow the negativity to be a part of who you are when you know you were destined for something more. Step outside of that negativity, get away for it, shake it off, write down who you are, see who you are, and socialize and be in the environments that are going to continue to grow you, not things that are going to slow you
Amen.
down, not things that are going to hold you back. Move in the direction that God has called you to be. We know it. We know it. We feel it here. And I talk about all the time. We feel it here in our hearts. We know when we're on the path that God has called us to. And you know when you're not. Don't keep holding on to something that you know is keeping you from what God has called you to do. Because when you lean into what God has called you to do, nothing but magic happens. And we hear that all the time. Ariana is always talking about how it feels so magical, the experience that she's going through in this moment, but it's because she's leaning into what God has called her to do. And you might say, but I heard her talking about Mentor's Way. Yes, Mentor's Way is the direction she's moving, but it doesn't mean that God's not using her along the way. Everything she's learning now, all is moving towards Mentor's Way. And she knows that. I know that
Mm-hmm.
because I spend a lot of time with Ariana and we talk a lot. But it's important to understand that her everything shifted from her when she understood that Mentor's Way was her calling. Then she changed her external factors. Then she took action. And it wasn't action once. She's taking action every day. And she's shifting who she is every day because she's reminding herself of who she is. And so that's what it takes. When we think about achieving our goals and how positive thinking helps us support us in achieving our goals, that's the level of commitment it takes. That's the type of action it takes. It's not just I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm going to be positive. It's not that. It's so much more than that. It's about doing the things necessary, having the hard conversations with people that aren't serving you, having to make the hard decisions with people and things that aren't serving you, that aren't moving you any closer to where you need to be, and making those things happen so that you can achieve the goals that God has called you to be. So I think, when I think about this episode, Ariana, I mean, this season has been fantastic. I know this is our last episode for the season, but I don't know, like, do you have any final thoughts about this season and positivity that comes up for you?
Yeah, I mean, there's something that came up for me from the beginning. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll find a way to incorporate it. But I just want to share like something in my journey that happened to me that was a bit scary, but I'm glad I took that step. Right. So, because we're talking a lot about Mentor's Way and my life goals and my passions and my legacy, which is Mentor's Way. And I got my bachelor's degree and my associates in human services. And straight out of college, I was doing social work. And I did that for several years until I felt like God was pulling me out of it. Right. Medical things started happening to me, like, a lot of panic attacks. And I just was always in the hospital. And I'm like, what is going on with my health in this job? When I'm not in the job, I'm good. But when I'm in the job, I'm sick, and I had to take those cues. And it was hard for me. And when I left my human services, social work career, I went into something totally different that I never thought I would be in or care about, which was property management and real estate. And when I started that job, it was a big like night and day. Felt like I was starting from scratch, like I was brand new like I was straight out of college all over again. That's what it felt, because I had to learn new thoughts, new systems, new ideas, new principles that I was never, exposed to. I was just always used to social work. But God has used me going into that real estate property management company with, my ex-boss, Harlan Miller, and he has taught me so much. He has taught me so much about personal growth, professional growth, spiritual growth, financial growth, and I have become like an amazing person. And I feel like he was there and came in right at the right time, because yes, God Mentor's Way is the end goal. But had I not had certain skills that he embedded in me, had I not learned some things that he's taught me, had he not unlocked the true leader in me by putting me in leadership positions that I was scared, making me make decisions when I was like, I'm not the boss here to make decisions, but he made me think myself as the boss. You own this company and you make decisions like if it was yours. And I did that without fear, because I knew he had my back. I knew that if I did mess up, yes, he's going to hold me accountable, because he always did, but he will always teach me what I did wrong, what I could have done better. Learning the financials of a company, balance sheets and P&Ls and all of those things. I learned everything that I would need to grow a company, like my funding company, my removal company, and overall for Mentor's Way, right? And I am grateful for that. So I totally shifted my life, leaving a job, leaving a career, let's put it like that, my career in human services, thinking that that was the path to Mentor's Way. Social work, Mentor's Way. That's it. I couldn't see nothing else. But when you follow God and his calling, right, and you're constantly thinking positive, you have people in your corner that believe you, that see you, that are like, just do this, like it's going to work out for you. Don't worry, everything's going to be okay. God is with you. If he's calling you to leave, everything's going to work out for you. And it has, but in a way that I would have never planned myself. I would have never thought social work, property management, and Mentor's Way. But I needed those skills. I needed those 8 years of being under Harlan Miller, my ex-boss. I needed to be under him for all those years to kind of get everything that he had as an awesome business owner, multi-million dollar, companies that he's had, that he was worth. And I needed all that skills and mindset. So I'm grateful that I was able to pay attention, listen, take risk, even though they were scary, things that might have seemed like failures, like, what are you doing? Like, you're just putting yourself all the way down, because I totally took a pay cut, and I went from a pay cut to being like his right hand in the company, making 6 figures, to now owning my own businesses. Would I be here right now had I not had that mentor? Had I stayed in social work? right? So, I'm just saying that to say that, positive thinking played a big role for me in everything. God played a big role in everything, him always intervening in my life in everything and always keeping me on his track, not on my track, right? If I was looking at my track, I would have been like, I'm a big failure. I just left my career, social work, to be in property management. I'm taking the easy way out because I'm getting sick. And it was like God was just calling me into something new because I needed to be there for some time to grow in a different area that was needed for Mentor's Way. I already had the social work aspect. I already knew how to, talk to people, how to handle people, psychology and everything that's needed. But then I needed the business mindset. And he helped me with that now I'm able to do both. I'm able to talk to people, relate to people, engage with people, give them my heart and my soul, and be very helpful, be a servant leader. But at the same time, I'm a businesswoman. And I know how to look at my financials and my company. I know when I got to pivot. I know when that's not good. I got to do this. What can I do next? I know all that because I know how the internals of a company works. And also getting my master's degree in leadership also helped as well, to look at operations and how to structure things and different departments and hire and fire. But it all happened in ways that I would have never thought possible, that I would have thought would have worked, but it's worked. So try it, try God. He works. He's amazing. And failure is all a part of it. If we just do something and nothing ever goes wrong, are we really growing? Are we really learning? Are we really getting better? We only get better when we fall, and we know what we fall, things didn't work out and how we're going to make it better. And then we get better because we made something better. So failure is a part of it. Negative thoughts is always going to be with us. They're going to happen. They're, might never go away, but it's having the also skill sets of being mindful. Okay, this is not right. How can I shift this to the positive, and how can I move forward to make my dreams come true? Because clearly the negative thought is never going to get me going anywhere. And then having the people around us that can encourage us, motivate us, inspire us, lift us up, be beacons of joy, be beacons of light in our life that can help us stay the course, and recognizing when it's time to say bye to certain people that when we are around them, we feel like drained, and being strong enough to make those decisions and walk away, because the fruits of that is just so beautiful, very magical, as we were saying. So yes, we're wrapping up season 4, the power of positive thinking. I just hope that this you have embodied, so much goodness and joy and excitement and inspiration and hope for yourselves, because that's what it's done for me and what it's done to Antoine in us, creating this, being God-led and God putting this on our hearts and giving you guys this information. I hope that has impacted you as much as it impacted us. And we'll see you guys next time. As usual, if you have any thoughts, comments, or anything that you would like to share with us, we'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below. And with that, thank you for tuning in. And until our next episode, always remember that having faith in God, having faith in yourself, and having faith in others will create the evolution that you are seeking.